Hello there, and thank you for coming over to my channel today and checking out my latest video. This is Blast from Your Past channel, and today we're looking at my personal highlights for Record Store Day 2019, which this year takes place on Saturday the 13th of April. Now, all the information that I'm going to be talking about in this short little video today is applicable to the UK only, so wherever you are in the world you will need to check availability, etc, etc. So the first thing we're going to look at today, which is something I'm very much interested in, is this LP from UGM, and it's the John Lennon Imagine Raw Studio Mixes, and this is going to be released on 180 gram LP, and it's basically all the songs from the Imagine LP, but the stripped back versions, the Raw Studio Mixes, with no overdubs or anything like that on, just the raw mixes. Now, I believe these were released originally last year in the Imagine 6-disc deluxe set, but it's the first time these have been made available on LP, so this is very interesting. Great picture cover from the period, from the actual sessions, and I love that. Don't know whether it's going to be a gatefold, don't know what the setup's going to be. Love the picture cover though, and to have these on vinyl for the first time is really amazing too, and I can imagine this is one that's going to be quite sought after on Record Store Day. I think there was 5,500 copies, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Something I read somewhere. So that's the first one that I'm very interested in picking up, hopefully. It's John Lennon Imagine the Raw Studio Mixes, released by UGM on 180 gram vinyl. Okay, so on to the second Record Store Day 2019 item which took my interest was this one from Marc Bolan and T-Rex, Bump and Grind, which is a collection of session takes, working versions and mixes. Now, I'm a big fan of 70s glam rock, in particular Bowie and Bolan and Slade and bands like that, so this really jumped out at me. Also because I'm more of a fan of outtakes and studio sessions than I am of just a straight album release. So this is pretty cool as well. And it's released on Demon Records. And it says, exclusively for Record Store Day 2019, Demon proudly presents this collection of working demo of some of T-Rex's biggest hits, including Telegram Sam, 20th Century Boy, Metal Guru, and Solid Easy Action, mastered from the original tapes and pressed on 180 gram heavyweight blue vinyl. Now, I believe this album was originally released in 2000 in Japan when some of Bolan's management team, or something to do with him professionally, bid on some master tapes of sessions and outtakes and stuff like that. And this is what this album is. It was originally released on compact disc in 2000, and the first time it's ever been released on vinyl. So this is very interesting. Okay, so along the same vein as Marc Bolan and T-Rex, we also find that there's 3 David Bowie releases for Record Store Day 2019. Now, I'm not sure whether I'm going to pick any of these up at the moment. The one that interests me probably out of the 3 is the Pinups picture disc, but I have this on CD, and I also have an early 80s German Black RCA pressing, so I'm not sure about that, whether I'm going to pick these up or not. So we have, as we've just discussed there, we have Pinups, which is his 1973 covers album, and this is on a picture disc. And it says 1 LP picture disc of the 1973 album Pinups. And it was a collection of some of Bowie's favourite songs from the 60s, stuff that Bowie was listening to and admiring in the 60s. And it's a bit of a classic album, although it's not regarded as one of his best. So that's coming out on a limited edition picture disc. And then we have this one, which is quite interesting, which is The World of David Bowie, and I think this was originally released in 1968 on Decca, and it says the first album set out the series stall perfectly, looking at one of the label's biggest selling artists. And this has got some of Boy's earliest work from the late 60s on here. And it's been pressed on 180 gram vinyl for Record Store Day. And then the third one, which is one that I wasn't even aware of actually, is this one here, Just a Gigolo, which is David Bowie, Marlene Dietrich. David Bowie, Marlene Dietrich split 7-inch with unique artwork. This split 7-inch has never been released before. Music from the original soundtrack, Just a Gigolo, limited to 7,500 number copies on coloured vinyl. So that's something I'm not very familiar with, but that's the 3 Bowie releases for Record Store Day 2019. Like I say, I'm not really sure whether I'm interested in picking any of these up. Maybe pin-ups, I'm not sure. But 3 releases there that may interest some of you out there. And finally, here's something that I think is probably the coolest thing on my wish list this year for Record Store Day 2019, is this 7-inch picture disc from Chas and Dave of their classic 1982 hit Margate. Now, Chas and Dave released this track in 1982, but what made it really famous, I think, or most well known, is when it was included in a Christmas special episode of the BBC comedy Only Fools and Horses. A Christmas Day episode from 1989 called The Jolly Boys Outing, where they all went on a bit of a bus trip down to Margate for the day, and this song was used. Slightly different version in Only Fools and Horses, and this is the version we get here on the picture disc, as well as the original version. And also it says there's some vocal appearances from Del Boy and Rodney on this as well. So this is really, really cool. And as you can see from the picture disc looks great. And this has been released by Demon as well. So that's a nice a little novelty to have there. So that's it basically. That's just my little highlights of what I am particularly interested in for Record Store Day this year. Not a great deal, not as much as there was last year. There is other bits and pieces which I may do a follow-up video later on of some other choice cuts that I think are maybe worth looking at. But on a personal note, these 3 or 4 items are what I'm particularly keen on looking at this year for Record Store Day. So that's it. Let me know what you think of Record Store Day in the comments down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you not bother? Is there anything that you've heard about this year that you're particularly interested in? Leave it down below. And that's it. Thanks for popping over and looking at my video today. This has been Blast from Your Past channel, and I'll catch you again very, very soon.